Consider this, a news and information program recorded on the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. From the UNO television studios, here is your host, Carol Schrader.
Hello and welcome back to UNO. What is big news for the defense of this country is also big news in Nebraska. This week we saw the ceremonial merger of two very important parts of our national defense. STRATCOM, which was based at Offutt Air Force Base near Bellevue, Nebraska, merging with the Space Command that was previously based in Colorado. This is good news economically, this is good news for our defense, and it's certainly good news for the city of Bellevue. What the people from there like to remind us is Nebraska's first city. And one of those who would be first to remind you is Mayor Jerry Ryan of Bellevue. Welcome today.
Well, thank you for inviting us. It's my pleasure.
Some other great guests. Deb Davis is chair of the Bellevue Chamber of Commerce and is here to tell the good news. And also just a gun-ho kind of guy is Bernie Pilikowski. He is kind of heads up the economic development arm of the chamber. I want to thank you because I am hearing that there is just big buzz about Bellevue, which you've always said there was big buzz, right, Mayor?
Well, you know, we've doubled our population in 10 years.
Incredible.
If you haven't been to Bellevue, there's something new now. As you come in, it's just a matter of saying, where are they building? Ruby Tuesday, Walmart, it goes on and on. So what we want to look at now is what kind of growth do we have, because it's been tremendous and coupled with what's happening in our neighboring cities. And the wonderful thing that happened at Offutt yesterday when the Space Command came in. So it's dynamite. It's certainly going to enhance not only Bellevue but the entire metropolitan area.
I think that that's what we want to talk about, but we do want to talk about, Deb and Bernie, we want to talk about there's a new spotlight, a renewed spotlight. I mean, it's come and gone over the years with Offutt was being so big, and then the cutbacks, and then so it's like you're in the spotlight again from this national defense point of view, from this strategic point of view, and from this people point of view.
It's an exciting time to be with the Bellevue Chamber. As president of the Chamber Board this year, there's so much growth going on in Bellevue. It's amazing. We have, as we said, we know that the changes coming on at the base. There will be more families moving in. Our schools will grow. Our housing will grow. And the Chamber is there as the front door to the community to help whatever businesses want to relocate or locate in Bellevue. There's plenty of office space available. We're ready and excited for whatever's coming our way.
This show airs a number of times, so it's hard to refer exactly, but as we tape this show, Bernie, there is a delegation from Bellevue's chamber and the Metro Chambers of Commerce in Colorado, and they are spreading the good word, and I suppose trying to get people to understand that, you know, this if you can move, if it's comfortable for your family to make this move, this is going to be a positive experience.
Exactly. At this point, I think the main thing is that there's the possibility of anywhere from 200 to 600 jobs coming to the Bellevue community to work on Offutt or near Offutt. In addition to the military members, there are also members of the defense contractor community will be coming down as well, so they have a great amount of interest. Megan Lucas, our executive director of the Chamber, she is in Colorado Springs today with Rod Mosman of the Omaha Chamber and a lot of other representatives. They're taking material. Here's a miniature packet, but it's got the Discover Bellevue, our logo, the website for the Chamber of Commerce, then inside information. We've used the Discover Bellevue and then the Discover theme on everything. We keep with Bellevue's purple color, but education, housing information, quality of life issues, information about the Chamber, information about Team Offutt, where to go to get information for websites, schools. We anticipate that this will be a slow trickle. It won't happen all at one time.
And that's good.
It really is. It really is. And
keeps the housing market a little more stable, and the office space rent and all those kinds of things that you kind of depend on to not make any great leaps or jumps or dips.
Well, traditionally, these kinds of changes are done over a necessary time frame. There's probably going to be some downsizing what was already there with retirements and not recreating positions that may have overlap. But this is a very, very important mission for Bellevue and for the Offutt community. It's one more stone that helps us cement Offutt staying here permanently and not being threatened by another base realignment commission. So it's very good news. It's very valuable, and I think it sets Offutt up to be eligible for additional missions in the future.
Now, I think since this show does air statewide, and I don't mind at all that you go rah rah Bellevue because it is a phenomenal community. But the Stratcom Space Command merger, and what's the final name for this?
Stratcom.
It's just being brought in under the Stratcom.
Right.
This is significant for the state, is it not? I mean, not just jobs, but as you said, re-cements one of the things that is a hallmark of this state.
Well, Offutt is the state's single largest employer. And Offutt has been static for probably almost the last 10 years, just meaning that it's seen no increase or no real decrease. There's been some changes between what civilians do, what military personnel do,
Right.
as far as the number
Fewer
of people.
military, more civilians.
Right, as far as the number of people actually working there and making an economic contribution, it's been relatively stable. So this is a nice opportunity to see an increase, and again, the more missions that are being done on a base, the less likely it is. I mean, nothing's a guarantee, but the less likely it is going to be impacted when they realign or do closures. This is actually a realignment because they are moving two separate missions or commands together and merging them into one.
Now, Bellevue, as you mentioned, Mayor, unprecedented growth in the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
Doubled its size. This also cements the Omaha metropolitan area as being one of the fastest growing in the Midwest, I'm guessing. But there are some pains that come with quick growth
Well, Carol, there are some
that
pains,
mayors get to deal with and planning
Sure.
commissions and things. How are you handling?
but they're nice pains. They're nice pains.
Certainly is good.
Certainly our planning commission, the chamber, but the growth is there, whereas in other communities, particularly out west with the drought and so forth, we're welcoming. Our big problem is what's coming in, how can we fit it here? Thank you for coming in. Building is booming. Our permits are at an all-time record in 2002. So it is a pain of growing, but
Well, I
it's
mean,
also...
because you're planning for the future and things want to go now. And, I've covered enough Omaha Planning Board committee hearings, and I know we've never grown that fast, but it's something that takes great care.
The nice thing about Bellevue, though, is we have a teamwork. The chamber works with the city works with Offutt, the Offutt works with the chamber. We're a team.
But you've been
And-
used to this.
And we get along, and we're a wonderful team that works together. We're excited about the development and the growth, and it's just a wonderful time to be on board.
Bellevue's school system has always been considered a pretty
wonderful.
good school system, and I'm sure, though, that with revenues down statewide, and I know you're growing, but there's still these little sales tax may not be things that cities have to worry about. That you are concerned, though, about a school district being able to absorb.
But our school district, Bellevue Public Schools, has been ahead in the future for a long time. We have purchased land that is sitting idle waiting for us to build on. Currently, we have 2 high schools, 2 junior highs, and 15 elementary schools. We have both public and private schools available in Bellevue, and all of our schools, our public schools, are all accredited schools. So we have a wonderful school system, and no complaints in that area. We have wonderful facilities, and it's growing. And there are other land available for the growth in areas that they're picturing growth to be.
And I might also just add that the construction is almost complete of a lifelong learning center, which was spearheaded by Dr. Deegan, superintendent of Bellevue Public Schools. And it's a combination of well, currently there's just no large place for people to get together in Bellevue. All the proms, all the large graduation dinners, et cetera, are all held in Omaha. This is going to be I don't know the exact capacity, I imagine it's somewhere between 400 to 600 people, but it will have facilities, auditorium facilities, recreational facilities. It will be the home of the Offutt Welcome Center. It's just right outside the Offutt main gate. Eventually, I know there's talk about the possibility of a second library being located there. That's been in discussion stages. In addition, Metro Metro Tech Community
Right,
College
community
is
college.
looking at that type of a campus environment to expand their current facilities, mainly in the trade and vocational skills area. But as Deb said, the key has been strategic partnerships, where the schools work with the chambers and the cities. Everybody's working together. The private groups, the civic and charitable organizations are pretty much on the same page.
Bellevue has a unique opportunity, not just for growth, but because of this unique relationship with the federal government. That, you know, for instance, you say lifelong learning. I mean, what better place to, not saying that Offutt and the mission there is a reason to do things for the community, but you know that you have people that in your own community and then the Offutt community who can benefit from these things. And you know, there's a synergy of not just they're providing jobs and income for the city, but they have something to add to the city that you know, a lot of communities don't have. Experience, people from all over. It gives it almost, you know, a little more cosmopolitan too feel to Bellevue than it might have.
In many communities where there's a military presence, you will see like a real separation between the military people versus the people.
In fact,
in
it
the community.
almost is a tension.
Right, right, kind of a tension. In Bellevue, I think that type of situation just does not exist. It could be farther from the truth. The Offutt community, the Bellevue community, all phases of it interact well together. We have a wide variety of things to offer to the military community and they to us, and everybody works very well together.
And I'll take that a step farther. Having having been in the Army for 21 years, retiring out of Offutt, I don't think there's any base community relationship any better in the world. And part of that is because of the large number of military retirees.
And you do. I mean, people say that nobody wants to retire in Nebraska. You retire somebody else. But that is an incredible success record in keeping retirees here.
Now, 20% of our voters, 20% of our people have a retirement check coming from the military and or Social Security. So we are very stable economically, from not recession proof, but certainly we've got the best of all worlds. And that relationship, as Bernie mentioned, continues to foster veteran parades, things that the Chamber's done so well, community activities, the 55th Wing Commanders on the school board. So, you know, it just gets better and better. And I don't want to make this sound like Alice in Wonderland.
Or like a big love fest down there.
Is. But I couldn't be prouder to be mayor of Bellevue. It has gone in the last 4 years, and the debate we have tonight between candidates, I'll say honestly that this is the greatest 4 years in our history. We have developed probably faster and better than we have for 20 years. So you said it, it's exciting, and yet it doesn't come without some things that we have to work at.
Yeah, it's just a painstaking process, and I use pain lightly, but I mean, you have to be careful because you're laying the template for many years to come.
And many of the things that are benefiting Bellevue today were the result of planning and visions from 30 years ago. The Kennedy Freeway is probably the biggest infrastructure.
Sounds like something I'd say.
Improvement that we have seen in the history of the town. It opened in 1994, and it gave you a true, direct interstate route into the city of Omaha. And in 1997, Bellevue's first upscale housing development took off. Basically, it's at where the Kennedy empties, and it was the first upscale development Bellevue has seen since the 1960s with Fontenelle Hills, Mr. Tagarin housing development and golf course and a commercial area under development. But it gave commuters an 8-minute shot into downtown Omaha from Bellevue.
Yeah, because you can be in West Omaha and take
Omaha.
twice or more as long.
But I'd like to add to that too, that the widening of 370 has made Bellevue grow westward also.
We should mention that 370 is the east-west highway, kind of central to south. It takes you over into Papillion,
Right.
and it has allowed both Papillion and Bellevue
to kind of merge together, but we've got so much growth around the 36th and 370 area with shopping coming and grocery stores, and we've just got, there's development there which helps the housing areas that are growing in that area, When I first moved to Bellevue 8 years ago, I had a 5-mile jaunt to a grocery store. Now it's just around the corner type of thing.
The metropolitan area is really that now, rather than just Omaha and Council Bluffs and then a lot of little cities around it. I mean, it's really beginning to feel like I go, let's say, to the eastern United States. And I was in Washington and New York recently, and you have these big cities outside these big cities. And so, I mean, it feels more like a true metropolitan area instead of just one big city and a bunch of little feeders.
Well, it's going to get better. We have recent information that states that Bellevue will be 80,000 in 2020 and 160+ thousand in 2050. 2050 being my last term in office.
Oh, that's how you're figuring that. Uh-huh. Well, that's good. So what is the current population?
Roughly 47,000.
Well, that's not the Bellevue I knew growing up.
Well, and you mentioned Paynes. There are some people who want to revert back to being at the downtown area. We're working very hard in revitalization. The Chamber's doing a great job revitalizing our downtown area.
Now, is that what we used to call Bellevue?
Yeah, Hayward
Old
Park,
Town.
as you go over the bridge. We're doing some exciting things with our parks. We've revitalized and upgraded all of our swimming pools. And as you say, as we have these folks coming in and our own people, we want to provide the people that decide to settle in Bellevue with the best facilities possible.
Now, you got a little bridge problem down there.
But no one owns it.
No one owns.
No one knows
and
who owns
For
it.
those that are unfamiliar, there's a
Toll bridge.
toll bridge that takes you from kind of Old Bellevue into Iowa, right?
It's Highway 370 as it goes
Just
through.
as it goes through
right. State
Next to
highway.
I-29.
And this has always been a mystery to me, that there's this bridge that somebody owns but nobody owns, because I guess the railroad owns part of the right-of-way leading up to the bridge. I mean, it's
Well, we're gonna straighten that out. Hopefully, the Bridge Commission has asked the Attorney General to come back and say, who's the owner? It's a very vital bridge, even with the new bridges coming in. The 2 new bridges scheduled, 8 years, 9 years. That bridge is very vital to Bellevue. We had 92,000 cars come across last month, almost 900,000 last year. So it's a very vital part, and we're fighting to maintain the bridge and maintain it as an open bridge rather than being replaced.
Let me tell you, speaking of Bellevue, and I'm not saying versus Omaha, but I was watching, either one of you watch West Wing
Oh, yes.
last
Occasionally.
night? Did you? Now, this is typical of what happens. There was a little thing, an animated thing in the Situation Room of the White House where we were talking about first strike. You know, I grew up in the Cold War, so we always got under the desks and knew that wasn't going to do any good with in our civil defense preparation. But they always put Omaha, and we know the reason that we're in this first strike scenario, which we don't worry about too much, but we've just come to live with it, is because of Offutt, which is near Bellevue.
Well, that's
But-
a hang-up I have too, Carol.
I always thought it might be.
At the swearing-in ceremony, I counted Omaha 7 times and Bellevue 0 times. And there was an article that the former executive director had where he said, will it ever be, we're calling Bellevue. So we've got some of that going. We call ourselves the Bellevue Offutt community. So there's a lot of relationship, and I've told reporters like you that I can be on base and at the officers club quicker than I can be home. So we're co-located, and the spirit is there. Now, I know Omaha doesn't want to get pried away from that, but General Myers and others, the Admiral, said how fortunately we are to be in Omaha. Well, I wanted to rise up and shriek. Bellevue's right outside the gate, and when the president came in, I cut out the inscription
This
that
was
said,
on 9/11.
right, he landed in Bellevue, or landed in Offutt right next to Bellevue, Nebraska.
But I guess it's just that I guess it's on a map. It's a bigger dot, and
That's
so
it.
but it's kind of a fun thing to know that if I lived in Bellevue, I'd chafe just a little under the collar.
A little bit.
But at least people know where we are, or where Offutt is roughly. So you're able to live with that, and you're just going to
Sure.
slowly change the culture on this.
Well, we're going to annex Omaha.
Oh, that's a
supposed to be a
news
secret.
flash. Thank you for breaking that.
A small town to the north.
But the cities do work pretty well together. And with Papillion's expansion to the west of you around the 370 area.
About, was it 60th Street, Jerry, is about the
53rd Street.
53rd Street is about, eventually right now you don't notice any difference from when you cross the Sarpy County, Douglas County border on Harrison Street. You really, there's no flashing warning or toll booth that says you've left Omaha and are entering Bellevue, vice versa.
But in a way, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that
It makes us an edge city.
Yeah.
Meaning Bellevue can have an event or some kind of a celebration or fundraiser. And not only do we have the 45, 50,000 people in the Bellevue area, but we can draw another 500,000 in Omaha.
well,
And
look
we
at the
saw that.
Offutt Air Show. Perfect example, which is near Bellevue.
We also saw it when we did the Riverfest. The Bellevue Chamber put on the Riverfest with the barbecue competition. That was beyond our expectations.
And
we
by
know
the way, I am married to a barbecuer whose brother participated and said that was one of the nicest.
we heard that
events.
from all competitors, and they plan to double it next year. So be prepared. And the city worked wonderfully with the chamber in upgrading the park for what it needed to be able to put that event on, and it'll just get bigger and better every year.
Now this brings me to, Omaha's riverfront development. You certainly have kind of been working on your river presence, and certainly it's part of the lore of Bellevue, being, Bellevue was really the first real,
Lewis and Clark is going to be a big
it's going to be a
thing
big
the
deal.
next few
Yes.
years.
The other thing is we have read so much, certainly in the Omaha newspapers, that time and time again that kids don't want to stay here because there's nothing happening. And I see this synergism of your events that can draw from the north and the west, and our events that we're planning for the riverfront and the kinds of things as being, where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and that it will be keeping families and young people here. But do you hear that down at Bellevue Island? And the young people, there's nothing to do. I'm talking about the 18 to 30.
Well, I have young children, and I have that range, and my kids are so glad that I raised them in Bellevue because they had more things to do than where we lived prior.
And where was that?
We lived in Grand Island. We lived there for 12 years, and everything that we've done since we've been in Bellevue has been, the schools have been good. There's things for the kids to do after games, and they just really enjoy the community itself. It's been a great experience for my family.
I know people our age think that this is a myth, that this goes on. But the nice thing is that you're building things, Omaha is building more things, and so, and kids tend to be pretty mobile these days.
Well, I think you mentioned earlier about the educational opportunities.
We were talking before the show about the large number of colleges and universities in this town, in this metro area, and that there is nothing practically that you can't study and fit into your particular working schedule. And Bellevue University is a perfect example of, working their masters in business and all the kinds of things. We are blessed.
Well, in addition, you mentioned the waterfront. We're in the process, hopefully, of acquiring our 106 acres of Kramer Power Plant land for parks. Our marina is full. Haywood Park is 20th century, 21st century park. If we get the 106 acres, we will back right up to Fontenelle. I flew over it a week ago, and it will
Fontenelle
be
Forest.
Fontenelle Forest. As you fly over, you hit the marina, Haywood Park, what will be park at the Kramer plant, and then Fontenelle. And the riverboats that came down last year, one of the captains said this could be the prettiest river site from here to St. Louis. And I believe that, and another reason to keep that bridge open. So it's going to be dynamite when they look at that. We already have crowds down, walking trails, hooking into Omaha's, and lots of so many things, as Debbie said, to do.
The walking trail thing is interesting because it is tying both sides of the river. We are working on our relationship with Iowa, not that we've ever declared war or anything. We are finding that we're able to use this river to stretch the interest literally in our part of the universe from north of Omaha down through south of Bellevue and also on the other side of the river. And they're doing some interesting things that are a little different than we are. So it's, again, that's something for everyone, young people activities.
It's been great.
So what is the most surprising thing, as we kind of wrap up the show, that you would say, not to you, but to those outside of Bellevue, whether they be in Grand Island or in Scottsbluff or in Omaha or in Council Bluffs, that that there is about Bellevue these days?
I'd jump in right away and say what Bernie, what Bernie said is the relationship between the schools, Offutt, the city, it's complete. It's a package. No one does anything really without consulting and affirming what we're trying to do. And that's something that not all communities have, this working relationship. And doing that, you know, we certainly are enhancing our city in various ways, learning center, school district, barbecue, and so forth. That we get a lot done because it's not a groupment of city, school, chamber. Chamber's done a wonderful job of enhancing our city.
As for individual things in Bellevue, what are some of the secret surprises that we should all learn about?
Well, we have a 16-screen theater. We have our own.
Yes, you do, and I have been there twice.
It's a wonderful theater. It's actually a place that you can drop off your children and feel safe, that they can go to the movie and stand outside and wait for you. And we've got our own little theater, we've got parks, we've got walkways, we have it. As the motto is when we took to Colorado, it's here or it's near. And we have it.
And Bernie, I'll kind of let you, what's your favorite surprise about Bellevue?
Well, as our executive director, Megan Lucas, would say, Bellevue rocks. And that's like our slogan within
The
Chamber
unofficial.
meetings so far. I can just not take it too far back, but in my early days working as a volunteer for economic development, you would have to drag people to Bellevue because the demographics were not there. You're looking at 1990 census information. The town was almost shrinking. Offutt was about to undergo a fairly good-sized downsizing. With the opening of the Kennedy Freeway, once you brought people in, the rooftops came in, the retail and the services follow the rooftops, and now it's an easy sell. I mean, now places are opening up right and left. If you drive into Bellevue, you will see more bare dirt than any other place in town. And that bare dirt means that the machines have been out there moving it around because there's progress. There's new things going up, new construction, retail. Probably the only weakness area I see is we don't have a lot of infrastructure laid in for commercial industrial type development. And I don't know if that's really a weakness or not. Bellevue wants to grow or seems to want to grow more along the office building type line, heavy manufacturing, heavy industrial may not be a big fit.
So more news to come.
More news to come.
I want to thank you so much for being with you. This is the first opportunity I've had to sort of present Bellevue in the many years I've been doing interview shows. So I want to thank Mayor Jerry Ryan, Deb Davis, who is president of the Chamber of Commerce in Bellevue, and Bernie Pilakowski. So excited about Bellevue. Thank you, and thank you for joining us this week on Consider This. See you next week.